Yeah.
Now, John Edward was just on the Glenn Beck show. Now, if you want to talk about a black hole of crazy, there you go. But he's on the Glenn Beck show, who's I don't know if you're aware of this. This guy's a commentator on the Fox channel here in the States.
We have a user in the YouTube user in the room who does a lot of videos about Fox News, and because of this, I'm very, very aware of who Glenn Beck is. And I think I actually used a clip of his video. If you're referring to the bit where he says that he would not be tested because he would refuse to be tested by a man who has an adjective as a first name, is that what you're referring to?
That's okay. Yeah, that's the actual clip. I think that's funny considering his first name is a synonym for toilet. I mean, if you want to pull out, I'm not making fun of people named John. I'm just making fun of a stupid claim like that. That's an excuse. He's saying, "Oh, I'm not going to get tested by someone who's got an adjective for a name." That's just dumb. That's clearly an excuse. The reason he doesn't want to get tested by Randi is because he knows he won't pass.
Of course.
But the funny thing about this, the point I want to make up, is that on that video clip, which we just put up on randi.org, randi.org, go there, he says, "I don't think of myself as an entertainer." And it's like, well, if you're making people sign a liability form that says this is for entertainment purposes only, and you don't think of yourself as an entertainer, where does that leave us? Does that mean you're not entertaining and...
No, the clip I used from that very...
You're not a psychic?
...same broadcast was that he actually said that he thought he was an educator and a teacher. And, I mean, that is absolutely scandalous.
We're certainly using him that way.
And, John, if you're watching now, come and sue me.
We use him that way. We're educating people to show him that he's full of it.
I beg you to sue me. Anyway, I am, again, monopolising your time. Please, we've got an audience of nearly 1,000. I'm sure they have much more interesting questions than I do. Again, if you'd like to maybe address some of the questions that are coming up, I don't want to monopolise your time.
Okay. This question go back about 300 times. Have you seen Thunderfoot's video about a potential impact on Io? I don't care for this guy Thunderfoot. I think he's kind of a loudmouth. And
he's my next guest. Be careful what you say.
No, I have not seen.
He's my next guest. Be careful.
No, I haven't seen that video on an impact on Io. Recent impact on Jupiter. No idea about that, and I can't watch it now, of course, because if I do, I will probably sort out the entire internet, considering how much trouble. But I'll take a look at it. I mean, we know that there are volcanoes on Io, so like a big old slice of pizza. So I would be surprised if we could tell if something hit Io. It would be really hard to tell. So let's see. How would I this is a good one. How would I recommend starting a skeptical student club at my university? That's a really good question. If you're a lot of people, I get email all the time who are saying, "Gee, until I found your blog, or until I found Randi or Michael Shermer or any of the other skeptic groups, I thought I was alone." There are people out there living in Kansas who didn't even know that there are organized skeptics out there. I would suggest going to the Center for Inquiry, that's CFI. Look them up on the web. There's also what used to be called SciCop is now Committee. Oh, yeah. It used to be the Committee for Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal. Now I think it's just Committee for Scientific Investigation. I'm completely blanking on what their acronym stands for. But if you go out there, they actually are very big on getting college campuses to promote skeptical groups and do things like that. That's what I would suggest. Go to those sorts of organized, top-down, national. They'll be able to help you do that. There's a guy named DJ Grothy. DJ does Point of Inquiry, which is a great, fairly academic, very good podcast. And he actually goes to college campuses and helps people get them started. It's fantastic. Great way to do this. And there are informal groups. There's Skeptics in the Pub, Drinking Skeptically, where you can go out and get a bunch of people together and go to bars and talk about skepticism and stuff like that. It's wonderful. There's a lot of grassroots skepticism going on. It's only started recently. This is only years, and it's something that we at the JREF are really, really supportive of. Our meetings every year in Vegas have turned into a big community get-together. People are calling it the Woodstock of skepticism, and it's not what we meant to do. We meant it to be a skeptical gathering, but the fact that it's turned into a huge community support thing has been just terrific. Dr. Horrible's asking about Skeptologists. Skeptologists is a TV show that a bunch of us put together a couple of years ago as a pilot, and we have not gotten a network to buy it yet. We've come close a couple of times. We're still working on it. I'm still trying to help Ryan Johnson and Brian Dunning, who are the two guys spearheading this, trying to get it set up. We'll have news when we find out what's going on. We'll let everybody know. Don't worry. I saw a question here that I liked. Where did it? Scrolling back. Somebody asked about the JREF challenge. Oh, has anybody ever taken the Randi $1 Million Challenge? Okay, look, here's the deal. James Randi years ago has put up $1 million that if you can prove a claim of the paranormal, some sort of psychic power or something like that, under reasonably good conditions, under testable conditions, we will give you $1 million. That $1 million, one of the first things that people claim is the $1 million doesn't exist. The $1 million exists. It's in a Goldman Sachs account. Every month we put up a new statement from Goldman Sachs that says, here's the money. So when they claim that the money doesn't exist, it makes me laugh. It's like, you guys are just grasping at straws. You're trying to...
Yeah, there was someone else I saw in a video. It wasn't Sylvia Brown, but it was another female, supposed whatever you call these people that talk to the psychic or whatever, that talks to that dark-haired lady who said exactly that she wasn't convinced that there was $1 million. I'm sorry, if you're going to question the integrity of James Randi or a con artist psychic, I know which I'm going to come down on.
Shame on you. That's arguing from authority.
It's arguing from a legal point of view.
The point is,
if
somebody wants to question, but that's not really evidence. That's just that's more of an opinion. But the point is, the money's in frickin' Goldman Sachs. What more do you want? They will send you. You can call them and talk to them on the phone, and they will say, yes, here's the $1 million. It exists. And so it's kind of silly for people to claim it doesn't exist. That's just a cop-out. But the money is there. You apply for this. You tell us what you can do. As long as we can assign a statistical probability to it. You can't just say something like, if I sit long enough, I have to go to the bathroom. That's silly. But if you can say, I can predict a coin toss with 90% accuracy, then we'll say, all right, sit down, we're going to toss a coin 100 times. And if you can predict it accurately 90 times in advance, statistically, that's huge. That's incredibly low probability.
I remember seeing a lecture. In fact, I have it on my video on my computer. A Randi lecture at Princeton, 2001, in which he did say that you had preliminary tests. That is to say, you don't just accept any old thing, but the probability you narrow down to about 1,000 to 1 or something in your initial tests. Is
Correct.
That about right?
Right. So there are actually two tests to save everybody time and effort and to make sure that we don't get bilked. I mean, it's our money. You have to do a preliminary test, and that test statistically is set so that the odds of winning it just by random chance are 1 in 1,000. So, for example, we did a live challenge at our last amazing meeting in July in Vegas. We did this live with a woman named Connie Sona. She was Danish, and she said she could predict, using basically a dowsing technique by hanging a pendulum over cards, that she could predict what the card was to statistically significant odds. And so we arranged a protocol with her. It worked very well. And we had 3 different stacks of, basically 3 different packages of 10 cards each. And she had to pick the correct card 3 times in a row. That's 1 out of 10 each time. So it's 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. She had 1 in 1,000 odds of getting it right statistically. If she's a real psychic, then she could do it all 3 times, and she actually failed all 3 times. She did exactly what everybody does who honestly thinks they have psychic powers.
This
At
is
first,
an interesting point, and it's one that has puzzled me. Richard Dawkins did a program. It's not The Root of All Evil. It was the one that came out after that. In fact, I think I've got the video box behind me. But they tested water dowsers. These people, with the metal rods and everything. And after they had been shown to be completely incapable of doing what they said they could do, they all found some form of excuse to explain away why it didn't happen on that occasion or whatever.